We've got the updated roadmap, apparently some extra balancing stuff. What else is in here? God release schedule, the balancing, new and updated items, more God balancing. They talk about Merlin, Aladdin, a wheelie. Damn, yo. Are they about to slaughter assassins and ruin the game? I don't know. Let's find out.
We talked about our big OB10 reveal on Monday. We showed off Apollo, talked about 5 new items coming to the battleground, a lot of stuff. We're going to be going over the full balance patch notes a little bit later on.
Yeah, I remember, in January, decides to arrive.
Yeah, it's true.
No graphics?
So unfortunately, we're here to talk a little bit about that. We are going to be shifting the H-God out in the schedule a little bit, and there's a few reasons why we think that that's a good idea to shift him specifically. The main one is that we're looking at the feedback and we're seeing players constantly wanting still some of the classic gods from Smite 1, the bangers, the big hitters, that are just missing. And so
that sounds like cap. Hold on. There's no way they're delaying Haster because people want old gods. If so, to me that's crazy. But there's some cat. They must be having issues with something, or want it to be a better drop, a more hype drop, or pair it with something else going on in the game.
Those, as the last couple of God releases went, we saw that they do bring in players and engagement, but really just missing your favorite gods from Smite 1 is still what we see as
I
the
see it
biggest
on Reddit
opportunity
every day.
to get more players. Yes.
I'm waiting for X-God to come before I hop into Smite 2. So we definitely want to take a look at some of those really big hitters, like you said, and prioritize those for coming to the
absolutely.
To the game. And I don't even know what Travis like prefacing. Like, I want to say things real quick. It's like, I'm gonna wait. I don't know exactly what he's gonna say. So.
Yeah, and what we're looking at is to make sure that when we do bring in one of these new gods to the game, that we're prioritizing, a whole update that's really dedicated towards highlighting that character. So, and some of the past new gods that we've released, it hasn't gone incredibly well in bringing players in, but the bringing classic ones back has actually done a really good job of that. So we want to make sure that those new gods, when we release them, have a bigger update.
Have a bigger update, a bigger moment. We can do some more fun stuff around social media to really make it kind of an event, right?
Yeah.
It's not just, a brand new god's coming to Smite 2. It's a brand new god is
See, that makes more sense to me.
Coming to Smite 2, and there's a lot of other cool stuff around it, right?
Yeah, that's right. And
so they talked about not having a mid-season patch, and I feel like everyone's basically like, yo, you should have, that's a hype thing that gets people to play the game. I guarantee you they're aiming to do some shit like that. Guarantee. There's no way they're not. If they're delaying Haster
coming, around this time. I'm also here to say that the next new god is now not an H god.
There we go.
Okay, sure.
And,
And
so they're delaying that motherfucker. He's gone. He's later.
Don't give him another letter. Don't give him another letter.
It's not an H, but it is another letter.
Yeah.
So it's not H.
That's not an H. Yeah. So have fun with that.
Well, if it's not
gonna
the
be
H god after Apollo, who is it, Travis?
Yeah. So some real bangers are coming up. I think that are really some of the key gods that people are really missing. So next up, so we're releasing Apollo on the
Monday.
19th. So Monday. And then 2 weeks from there, where we're gonna
the monster's coming to Smite 2.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Gods that people are really missing. So next up, so we're releasing Apollo on the
Monday.
19th. So Monday. And then 2 weeks from there, where we're gonna.
No, it's their video.
The monster's coming to.
It's their video, bro. Why did they cut that out of the video? What the fuck?
Smite 2.
Yeah. She's a monster. I've been playtesting her.
So we get Scylla
feeling pretty good
in 2 weeks and a couple days.
So you guys
her plus ones are pretty cool.
Yeah, her plus ones are really cool. And then after that, we're going to be releasing Ganesh.
Yes, my favorite guardian from Smite 1.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for the God of Success.
Yeah. Except
Ganesh
he's just mega silent.
Yeah.
Really that popular?
I get frustrated.
What?
So it is cool, these aspects. Like you see if you get counterpicked or whatever with Ganesh.
All right, bro. If you're on Reddit saying, I'm not playing Smite 2 until we get Ganesha, you're a fucking bum, bro. A bum ruining the game for everyone else.
An ability like carry or something like that. And being able to potentially change your builds or change aspect to now maybe do
literally
basic
Razy,
deck focus or
exactly.
something like that
He's a bum.
is been pretty cool to pivot your gameplay.
Until Ganesha pivots, but we can
Yeah,
talk more about
until
that later.
Ganesh pivots and then
I'm Scylla's good, but I could have
so those
waited
two are coming
another
up.
month for Scylla.
Today, later today, we are going
ain't
to have
waiting a
flash
month for
test
Ganesh.
after
Yeah, and
It's
that's
today.
just gonna have the OB10 and
identify some issues.
yeah.
Every time we brought in here in the last couple patches, we've been talking about the item specialization.
All right. Anti-heal changes. Runus Ankh. Enemies within 4 meters have 40% reduced healing. The anti-effect increases. Okay, so it's the same thing they did to Mystical Mail and everything else. Divine Ruin. Lost 20 amp. Enemy gods about your basic attacks or abilities have a 50% reduced healing for 6 seconds. Trigger a chain light. They brought back OG Divine Ruin. What the fuck? Like, I swear they were doing everything in their power to not bring it back, and we just get it back. It's so good.
Pass and the big arc of work.
This is gonna be a must build again, which is what's really cringe about it. The item, even regardless of healing or whatever, the item was really, really good at Smite 1, and now it's gonna be really, really good at Smite 2.
For the most part, and as Pon alluded to and talked
we're
about
getting
on Monday a little bit,
shitty
that-
brawlers back?
That pass is for the most part finished. Like, we were very happy with the way things have turned out. Sure, there's a little bit of discussion on DPS versus tanks right now and where that's going to play out.
This is such a bad item, man. It's a terrible fucking item, in my opinion. This item sucks dick. Give me my 15 strength over this dog shit. Like, I'm no exaggeration. I'm dead serious. Don't give me this. No one wants this. Not at all. I was more inclined to build with this power than I am with this passive.
Absolutely want to see how that settles a little bit. And now that the item specialization pass in terms of the tanks, the penetration, and all those different items, and recent the foundation has.
Why
for the
didn't they
most
give
part,
me
completed. It's
fucking
always an
Divine
ongoing
Ruin,
process.
but
I
on
don't
a
wanna
physical
say
item?
right?
Oh, wait, because we have
because
Crusher.
I'm sure we're going to
We're
revisit
never
something.
done. Yeah.
But now we got to do some of the couple item changes, or even god changes, but in this case, item changes that we've said we've wanted to do for a while. One of those was always the anti-heal
Yeah.
items.
So we
We've
can skip a little bit. We don't need to hear them talk about it. I'm already pissed.
well, for us, that's always the question of just
Hello?
Ruin and Brawler, but earlier in close range.
Yeah.
So that's how the percentages work there.
Yo, what
For
is
Divine
going on with
Ruin,
their video?
So another note there is it might seem weird that we just increase the power for intelligence and strength on Divine Ruin and Brawlers just to decrease them again. But that's because when we wanted to do the sweeping pass,
Right.
we knew this was coming. We didn't know exactly that this was going to be the patch afterwards, but this was the goals. We didn't want them to
This
be
is
one
their
stat
video.
lines
This
and
shit
just
is
power.
jacked up.
And that's basically it.
Focused anti.
This shit is jacked up. Hold on. There's always a fix.
For intelligence and strength, that's basically in the tiny anti-heal effect. This is just resetting their power again to where we would expect them to get, and also
Their
one of the
editor's on
price rank-
strike.
That missed the Monday show. 2150 gold, 400 health, 6 health regen. You target a location, causing enemy gods within it to be debuffed to 75% reduced healing. If an enemy uses
Okay, so
an
they're just
ability
going over
while
the items they
taking
announced the other day as
that,
well.
the tank your items get. Tank your.
Okay, so these are all the items that we looked over the other day.
Phrase
5 new
tiers,
tank
those are-
items.
Those are the
Feel-
other
Slash
4
support
new
item,
items.
tank items, however you want to
both
look
its
at
play
it.
rate and in the stats as well. And it was
All right,
just
charm, increase tick frequency from 1 second to 0.5 the heal. So this is a buff, a slight buff to the charm, which this is the mushroom you put on the ground that heals people in a circle. They buff Berserker Shield? I guarantee you they're like, we're bringing it up to match the other new items, but like, this is insane. Eye of Providence has 50 more HP. Haste and Vitalis cost 100 more gold, 5% more attack speed. Max stacks is 4. Melee basic attacks provide 2 stacks, while range only give 1. Wait, so it's 100% again. It's currently 75%, and it's up to 100. So Vitalis is old Vitalis again. They brought it back for Kali. They brought this shit back for Kali. Like, it's already good, like, playable. It's back so you can run Kali, and it's easier to play Kali. Interesting. That's like kind of weird. Hussars cost less, has even more HP. 500 health on that item. I mean, I realize 3,500 gold's a lot, but this is a very, very good item. Just not good early. Mystical Mail, passive effect added. Enemies within 4 meters are dealt 58 plus 1 damage per second. Damage increases. Enemies take the full amount as bonus damage if they have a health shield. So it's a damage anti-shield item now. Different. Very different. Pharaoh's Curse, attack speed. Increased attack speed slow to 40%. Duration's 4 seconds. Cool. Yo, what? Oh. What? Bro, Why did we give tanks 5 new items and then just buff everything else for them? Bro, 40% attack speed slow is insane. I mean, if an ADC is beating your ass and you go this and you have Spectral, it's over. The Hunter has minus 65% attack speed. I realize it's a 2-second drop, but it's up faster. Realistically, 4 seconds of somebody attacking at 40% attack speed is crazy. Holy shit. Like, think about it. At full build, you're going to go from 3 attacks a second as an ADC to 1.5 attacks a second for 4 seconds. You are going to lose 6 autos. You're going to lose half of your fucking autos over 4 seconds, basically. Like, it's a little bit higher than that, but it's basically how you look at it. That's crazy. This with another god that does attack speed slowing. Goodness, Spirit Rub, of course, got butt. What? Yo. How are you guys going to tell us that the items are good for, like tanks are in a good spot, but they don't scale late game? And then we put 5 new items that are all based around scaling tanks in the late game, but then we also buff other tank items. What the fuck are we? What? Why double down? Why not let the items sit and see how it feels and then maybe do this if the items don't do enough? What the fuck? Bro, that's actually insane. To me, that's insane. That's attack speed slow. I feel bad for hunters. Baron buff, wrap it up. Decrease cooldown from 16 to 14 to max rank. Okay, buff on the 3. Life of the party, your ultimate. Increase slam damage and intelligence scaling. Remember when I put this god really low tier on the tier list? Because he's bad, but they're trying to make him better. I don't think this makes him better. It is a buff, but I don't think it makes him better. What are we doing to CERN? Horn charge bonus cooldown reduction now applies when hitting jungle monsters at a reduced amount. Okay, this is aspect CERN. This is what you see me play in the jungle a lot. This is valuable. It's not life changing, but it's quality of life. Like, your clear is much better now. It also makes you want to level the 3 first or the 2 last, basically. Your 1 and your 3 earlier. So you can actually clear with this. Horn charge damage increased early game by 20. So yeah, it ups your clear. They're trying to increase your clear. I'm down for that. Control of Hunbats. Aspect of disruption. Overhand smash. Increase damage by 50. Increase strength per stack from 2 to 5. Somersault. Decrease the damage from 225 to 235. This also affects the second hit. Cool. Loki buff. Vanish. Increase damage over time scaling by 5% per tick. What does it take? 4 times? So a 20% scaling increase? That's kind of nuts. I think it takes 4 times. Dude, all the gods we talked about last night at the end of stream they're fucking with them. Every single one. New clay soldiers. Increase dash damage intelligence scaling by double. Shining metal. Increase explosion damage by 10% scaling. So they're trying to buff up her 2 and her 3, even though her ult I feel like is the weakest part of her kit. And her mobility, but still. Emoja, Many Waters 2. Increased shield health and scaling. 132% max to 144% max health. That makes this much better for her to use because you don't really use the 2 that much when you're playing support. You only use it a little bit. And the ult decrease the cooldown to 120 at all ranks. Okay, Yemoja, this is huge buffs for Yemoja in my opinion. Support Yemoja, much better. Like insanely better after that. That's big. That's a big deal. Merlin Shift. Aspect of Pandemonium. Elemental Mastery 4. So your ultimate. Decrease intelligence above scaling from 1 per level to 0.5 per level. Increase the cooldown from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. 1A. Decrease cooldown. Eclipse. Reduce cooldown. Radiate. Increase damage per tick. Dragonfire. Decrease cooldown. Okay. So are these only in the aspect that they have lower cooldowns or is that in general?
Radiate. The 2A, which is the fire stance, increasing the damage per tick.
I'm assuming that's all. That's base and aspect.
Yes. So a Merlin Shift here because specifically, and you mentioned it. I was the
sorry. Radiate is void stance.
Yes. So Radiate Eclipse is void stance 1. Radiate is fire stance 1.
Yeah.
And then Dragonfire is fire stance 2. Yeah. So aspects.
Okay. So this is general Merlin
on
changes.
Most levels.
Okay. Aladdin nerf, the 1, increase the cooldown by 2 seconds, increase the mana cost to 85 at all ranks, decrease returning small damage, down 10, decrease returning large damage, down 20. So they really fucked with his 1 off this. I don't know. I do think Aladdin's good, but I don't think he's nerf worthy. Wheelix nerf, Feather Step, decrease the cooldown by 1 second. Okay. Why are we nerfing any assassins right now when we're buffing tanks in the same patch? I think the devs are really onto their shit, but they do this same thing every time they buff somebody else. They fuck with characters in other classes without realizing there's going to be some impact, whether it's severe or not is what you need to wait and find out. I don't like this. I'm not even a huge Oweelix fan. I really don't think she's OP at all or worth nerfing. I think she's good and consistent. Gravity Surge lost 30 damage. Moonlight Charge got a 2-second increase on the cooldown. 1 second increase on the 2 cooldown. Decreased strength from scaling by 10%. That's fucking nuts. That's all. They hit everything on this motherfucker. Holy shit. Kabrakan got a nerf? What the fuck? Okay, it's an early game nerf. But what the fuck? I feel like he needs this to maybe be played. What the fuck? Hades nerf, the 3. Decrease the heal. Decrease protections while gained while channeling. Okay, so early game Hades got nerfed on the alt, but it's the same late game. The 3 healing got nerfed all across the board, but it's 10. It's 10 per stack or per hit. It's nothing crazy. Sobek nerf, increased cooldowns on his 2 and his 3. Soul nerf, damage and intelligence scaling from the 3 is reduced by 10 flat and 10%. What? I don't know. Soul nerf is kind of crazy to me too. What the fuck? Yo, nothing about the PvE side of the game. Hold on. We can do this. We can do this. I can go back to this, I think. Yeah. Wait, no fixes on this PvE meta that's developing. Nothing. Not one issue with it whatsoever. No problem with Sundurama plus 1 god killing every objective in half a second. Titan in half a second. Backdooring Phoenixes without protection, without minions. Nothing about it. Not a problem. I also want to note nothing about ranked SR changes yet. So I'm hoping we get word because it's dog shit right now.
Are you ready for Scylla, or are you still waiting on...
No, I'm just making sure I have the list, because I just wrote it down in a nice little list earlier.
Nice, cool.
So that way I don't miss anything. Okay, cool. So Scylla, yeah, super excited to see Scylla, and we're talking about
right?
We're talking about bringing in some of those fan favorite
one of
gods
the most popular gods in Smite 1 history.
I think she's like top 3 on my list as well, between like Merlin, Scylla, and Giannis. So I'm super excited to see Scylla, and she's been feeling better than ever.
Clumsy's top 3 gods are Merlin, Scylla, and Giannis. We already have Merlin. He built her. Scylla coming. I'm guessing since he's talking about he built her, because Pawn did Apollo, right? So does that mean after Scylla, he's working on Janice?
Her playtest, yeah, she might be maybe a little bit strong, but that's okay. We'll figure that out. Okay, so I wanted to, I made a note here as well for myself. Scylla has a few +1s. That being said, there's also a few shifts, and I don't mind talking about all of those right now, considering, like Travis said, if she's on this flash test, everyone's going to get that, and it's good to give a little bit of context. The shifts are super minor for the most part, so you will, we can talk about that together. So the passive, it involves one of the first shifts, which is the third ability, Sentinel, actually has passive mana regen on it. MP5 in Smite 1 or mana regen for us in Smite 2, that's actually going to be moved to the passive. So no longer are you going to be gaining increased mana regen from ranking up your third ability, but you're actually going to be getting it for getting max rank of your abilities, just as you would usually get the other components of this, which is you're still going to be getting 25 intelligence for max rank. So now you're getting 2 things when you're getting max rank in terms of stats for Scylla's passive. But you're also getting those bonus ability effects, and whether you want to call that our passive or the passive of our abilities, that's, for us, that doesn't really change anything. But we can get into what some of those are. So the idea for Scylla is take this opportunity to just kind of hone in on what she does best. We want to really push her and make sure that she feels like a mid to late game powerhouse, while maybe her early game is a tiny bit weaker, and we'll see that in one of the other shifts as well. But also give her the chance to have a look at what her max rank ability effects do, and see if we can find an opportunity there to spice things up a little bit, because to be honest, Scylla's kind of a great kit. We're not trying to go crazy and
an iconic
+1, an iconic kit. We don't want to add +1s that kind of detracts away from who Scylla is. If anything, we want to hone in on that a little bit.
I wonder if they're considering the MP5
no
move.
changes.
A +1.
It's
Yeah,
quite
they
good.
are.
Its max
For
rank
sure.
is great too. We're very, very happy with the way it feels, the way it works, and the bonus effect you get from max rank is
love Scylla, bro.
is solid.
Scylla's so
The
good.
second ability, a couple of shifts here, not a lot, really just there's a component that I believe was probably added into Smite 1 that, this is an opportunity for us to actually take away here, which is this ability no longer does the bonus damage to minion in jungle camps that, and I already wrote down, that it gained at some point due to balance in Smite 1. That was, in a time where we were at different goals. For
was
Scylla,
'cause
the goal
she
here
couldn't
is
clear.
to make sure that, by taking this away, we're kind of leaning into the fact that she shouldn't have the best wave clear early on. She shouldn't be able to pop this on the wave and just instantly clear by
I wonder if
level
her clear
3.
is gonna be
You are
dog
going
shit
to have
then.
slightly weaker wave clear and damage
Like,
earlier on into the game.
weaker
And she's
or
actually
dog
gaining
shit?
damage
A fine
further
line
too.
here.
So this kind of makes up and kind of a trade-off there. So you're no longer going to be getting that bonus damage to minions in jungle camps.
They're keeping
and
all the
so that's one
abilities
component of it.
for sure.
And then
What's
for the
+1?
max rank component, she's no longer going to be gaining that 1 second lingering slow and prot shred that she would at max rank, which was the main benefit. She will still have the protection reduction. But now at max rank, if this ability is refired early, that deployable area will still linger on the field. So it is no
Spicy.
longer kind of like a debuff that lingers, but it's the entire field that lingers. So if you do it
Okay.
early, the earlier you do it, the longer that duration is going to be, because if you do this at the last second refire, that deployable will have already timed
Yeah.
out at that time. So you're getting more of a
Okay.
zoning benefit, depending on when you want to refire this. You don't even
Interesting.
need to think about
That's
it too much.
very-
That's kind of the point as well. As like I said,
That's
we don't want to
basically
take
what they
away
did to
from Scylla's
Ul. That's
gameplay.
Ul's
If
+1.
anything, this just adds to it and adds kind of another mechanism. That being noted, I even have a note for myself and for ambassadors and for playtesters now. If the slowing effects and protection reduction effects of that field feel too strong, we have a lot of ways of like making that itself weaker. But we wanted to give this +1 a chance. Cool. The third ability, again, a tiny bit of shifts here. This ability's vision will always go through line of sight, not just at max rank. And now there's actually a new effect, so +1 here. When Scylla teleports to the Sentinel, her next in-hand attack for a short duration will actually deal bonus damage. So she gets kind of like a mini Polynomicon proc.
Oh, bro. Oh, bro. Say fucking less. Oh,
After
shit.
using the Sentinel teleport. This is actually something
Dash
that
root auto and
was
you're
kind of
dead.
a fun little add, and also
'Cause you're
allows
going
you
poly.
to utilize this max rank more actively than what you were doing before, and causes you to actually be aggressive with it.
Yeah.
So if you're sorry, I call it teleport. It's technically a leap, because it can be a Willix pulled and all that. That hasn't changed at all. That was just my nomenclature. Apologies there. So once after you leap with the ability, or after you use the ability,
Ooh, that's- I wonder
refire,
how
think
much
it's just
damage
when
it
I
is.
say in the game when you refire it, you'll get that mini Polynomicon proc. And then max rank, because now the max rank things are changing from previously. If this bonus attack from the Sentinel that you gain from going to the Sentinel hits an enemy god, her ability cooldowns will all be lowered flat by 3 seconds. So you get a one-time cooldown reduction benefit if you're playing aggressive. Again, the lean in here to this +1 is it changes absolutely nothing on her defensive capabilities, but it's actually increasing her offensive capabilities
Yeah,
or
so
letting her
mine
to
it
be
is.
more flexible there. So another kind of opportunity that we wanted to play around with that I talked about earlier, which is Scylla is very good offensively, but she's surprisingly good defensively as well. Between the Sentinel and between the movement speed, which I'm going to be talking about with her ultimate, she's very hard to catch if she wants to be maneuverable.
For sure,
And that's
yeah.
okay. Like, we're not taking away those abilities. We're just taking away a little bit of how strong they can be and shifting away the priorities there. And then finally, the fourth ability, kind of just right along, and just preface this as well, she's no longer gaining the double movement speed at max rank. She's gaining that normal, I think, 35% movement speed as she would at all ranks. So now when she's at max rank, you can't just use it and then just zoom away.
yeah.
35% is, believe me, is still plenty enough. But now, so not just at max rank, but all the time, whenever Scylla uses the ultimate I'm a Monster to deal damage specifically to enemy gods, if she deals damage to enemy gods, she gets 1 stack. These are the current numbers. We can absolutely change these. But whenever she kills an enemy god, she gets 3 stacks per god with this ability only. So we're not with all abilities, but with I'm a Monster. So she gets stacks. And this will be reflective in the passive meter. At max rank, which is going to basically be happening at the end of the game, each stack will add bonus damage and bonus damage scaling to I'm a Monster specifically.
Nice.
So the more you utilize it, the more you utilize it well, the better and better and better it's going to get throughout the entire game.
If you're hitting those ultimates before level 20, you
She's
get those
late
stacks
game
to
skill. I wonder
stay.
what the
Exactly.
damage
And that way you get a
is,
benefit once you hit
because
20 for the
that's-
extra damage. That's really
That
cool.
is
So,
crazy.
something that like it's really
Potential for
incentivizing
late
you to
game.
utilize these well, and really cementing on that fact that we said earlier, where She's going to be a mid to late game
we get to play
powerhouse.
this
and,
tomorrow?
You know, the longer the game goes
She's
on,
going to be dealing some damage.
Cooking
Yeah.
everybody.
So, a lot of cool plus ones
Daniel
and like
Wheelix and
shifts to
cooking
Scylla
everybody.
there. If anything, like I said, I wouldn't be too scared with like the bullet point list. Ganesha didn't need as many, and he doesn't. You know, we were very happy with theirs. Scylla doesn't need them as much, but like we wanted to use this opportunity to just hone in on what she can do and what she is, and hopefully, if anything, this should all feel like more excitement for Scylla.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Scylla's one of my top favorite gods. I think she has a lot of fun to play in Smite 1, and hopefully will continue to do so in Smite 2.
I know a lot of the community has been waiting for Scylla in Smite 2, so it's super exciting that they'll get an early look at some point this week. Which is super cool.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will get the test out this week.